And overnight, Russia has launched a significant attack on the western, southern, and central Ukraine, using hundreds of drones, cruise, and ballistic missiles, injuring at least 6 individuals, including a child. And explosions were reported across various regions, including Lviv and Cherkasy, where several buildings, including a college, were damaged. The Ukrainian military stated that approximately 500 aerial weapons were deployed during the assault, impacting multiple locations. The Kremlin has warned that tougher European sanctions on Russia will inflict greater economic pain on Europe itself, as Russia has grown increasingly resilient to what it calls illegal sanctions. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov dismissed calls from Western leaders, including the French President Emmanuel Macron, suggesting sanctions would force Russia to negotiate. He described sanctions as a double-edged sword and said Russia has built resistance to their effects. That comes as the Russian President Vladimir Putin highlighted his country's economic growth rate of a 4.3% in 2024 compared to just an 0.9% in the Eurozone, arguing that further sanctions would harm Europe more than Russia. And the Russian Foreign Intelligence Director has stated that he spoke with the CIA director, agreeing to maintain ongoing communication at any time. The rivalry between their intelligence agencies has intensified, with both resorting to public campaigns to recruit agents since the onset of the Russia-Ukraine conflict in 2022. The Russian Foreign Intelligence Director confirmed their call aimed to discuss mutual interests, with their last known conversation occurring in March. And in the past 24 hours, both Russian and Ukrainian forces have engaged in significant military operations, including airstrikes and drone attacks. And Russia's Ministry of Defense reported capturing another settlement in Donetsk, marking the 5th in a week, and claimed to have targeted numerous Ukrainian military sites. Meanwhile, Ukraine conducted airstrikes on Russian warehouses and attacked the Kirovsk airfield in Crimea, destroying key military equipment. And moving on to Cairo, where Egypt has strongly condemned the terrorist attack on a military convoy in northwestern Pakistan, which resulted in casualties and injuries. And in a statement by the Foreign Ministry, Egypt reaffirms its rejection of all forms of violence, extremism, and terrorism, expressing full solidarity with Pakistan during this tragic time. The statement added that the Egyptian government extends heartfelt condolences to the Pakistani government and people, as well as wishes for a speedy recovery for the injured. And in India, during a festival in the east, 3 people died and 6 were injured in a stampede, although none of the injuries were serious. The incident occurred at dawn in Puri, where thousands gathered for an annual chariot festival. Eyewitnesses attributed the stampede to a closed exit gate, forcing the crowd to use a single entry point. And in South Korea, former President Yoon Suk-yeol has attended a summon at the prosecutor's office regarding his failed attempt to impose martial law in December. Yoon's lawyers criticized the prosecutor's demands, claiming they violated his rights and aimed to humiliate him publicly. Yoon, facing a politically charged investigation, did not answer reporters' questions, but pledged to provide truthful responses during questioning. And the United States and the Group of 7 nations have agreed to support a new framework that would partially exempt the U.S. companies from certain aspects of the global corporate tax agreement. The G7 introduced a side-by-side system after the U.S. agreed to eliminate the controversial Section 899 retaliatory tax. initially introduced in President Trump's tax and spending bill. The removal of the Section 899 also spares the UK businesses from facing significant additional tax liabilities. U.S. Senate Republicans have planned to vote on U.S. President Donald Trump's extensive tax cut and spending bill after addressing concerns regarding rural hospital funding and state tax deductibility. Several previously hesitant senators expressed readiness to support the bill, which aims to extend the 2017 tax cuts and increase military and border security spending. Democrats criticized the bill for favoring the wealthy and potentially adding a $4 trillion to the national debt.
But Republicans are united in our commitment to what we're doing in this bill.